All right, so today for lesson building, I thought to myself, I have to make a little activity, right? And so the activity is going to be where the lesson is going to be on monopolies. And I need to reintroduce the definition of monopoly for them, for my students, because we covered monopolies like a while ago, and this whole activity that we're going to be doing is a hands-on activity where they're going to have to be taking like and analyzing Teddy Roosevelt, which is progressive era, a little bit past when we went over monopolies during the Industrial Revolution. So I want to revisit that definition, right? But I don't want to do it in a boring way because I've been doing this for like 12 years and I always teach Monopoly and I like to mix it up. I want to get the kids more engaged where they're going to have to be doing it themselves. Like, yeah, I can have them write down a definition of Monopoly, but let's be honest, they're just going to either A, look through their notes and just rewrite what they wrote, or B, Google it. Like it's not fun enough, right? So the little activity I'm going to do, it's a do now, right? They come into class, pre-class, I have it set up on the whiteboard. They're going to take their book bags, going to put it in the back of the room. They're going to come back to their seat with just a writing utensil, okay? And then what they're going to do is I'm going to give, in pairs, they're going to be two, right? Or my students sit side by side, twos. I'm going to give them an envelope. And in the envelope, I have the word Monopoly cut out on a piece of paper. And I'm going to show you this right now of like how I made this, right? And then I have like 5 dummy words, things that we've already learned about that I'm going to throw in there that I know that they know and that are different enough from Monopoly that it's going to kind of review all of it, but get us to focus on Monopoly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have interchangeable parts, unions, capitalism, Theodore Roosevelt, since that's what today's lesson's on, is Monopolies with Theodore Roosevelt. And so what was that? It was Monopoly, interchangeable parts, Theodore Roosevelt, unions, capitalism, and the assembly line. Those are my 6 terms. And I'm going to have their definitions for each one of those 6 on a separate sheet of paper cut out. And I'm going to have all the words in there and then all of the definitions in this envelope. And I'm going to hand the kids the envelope right at the start of class. And I'm going to say, your job, your task is to match the correct vocabulary term to its definition. Going to give the kids, like, honestly, this is, it's simple, it's easy, it's really no different than looking through their book. The only difference is they're actually going to have to read each word and each definition just to be able to match it. And so I'm guaranteed that they're at least going to read it. And then they have to do some type of processing to be like, oh, what goes where? And they kind of match it together. This is for an 8th grade class. And then, I don't know, it'll take like 2 to 3 minutes. And then when they're done, I'm going to say, okay, we're going to go over it. I'm going to check each definition, like with the kids on the board, and say, like, yes, you're right, you're wrong. This is where you got confused. And then the extent, I always like to somehow connect my starter, right, my do now, to the main activity. And the main activity is going to be Theodore Roosevelt, the trust buster, how he went after monopolies, and he was known for like busting up trusts. And so we just reviewed the definition of monopoly. And now what I want to do is I want to tell them, hey, bullies. Bullies are a problem, right? At my school on Monday, right here, we got to wear blue to stop bullying, right? It's like bullying awareness. And bullies are a big problem. We're going to talk about what is a bully. And then what I'm going to have is I'm going to have 2 posters on each side of the wall, blank sheet of paper. And then we're going to I'm going to give the kids some Post-it notes. I'm going to say, write down some ideas like what are ways that bullies oppress people and our kids, and what are ways that we can fight back against bullies, right? And one poster, the kids are going to stick the Post-it of like how they can fight back against bullies. The other one, they're going to stick the poster of what do bullies do to like hurt us, oppress us. And then I'm going to say, okay, now go back to those vocab words. Which one of those words represents or has the most to do with bullying? And some kids, they're probably going to say Teddy Roosevelt, even though we haven't gone over him and we haven't taught him yet. They're probably going to say him anyway, just because they don't know and it's a person. But I guarantee I'm going to get 1 or 2, or hopefully most of the kids saying like Monopoly, because Monopoly is where one business has all the power and they kind of bully the other businesses around. And I'm going to say, oh, that's interesting. And then I'm going to say, like, so what are the ways that we're going to fight against bullies? And then I'm going to connect it, well, how can we fight against monopolies? And that's the connection to my lesson, right? And then We're going to collect all the stuff. I'm going to then hand out the assignment, which is the Teddy Roosevelt political cartoon that I did, I think, a week ago, right? And so that's, or at least I posted on Facebook, something like that. So that's going to be my lesson for today, and it's going to be simple. Like I said, it's just taking a regular idea and then saying, like, how can I mix it up enough where either I get the kids actively doing something, you know, where they have to do it like a puzzle, or it's fun. You know, I fundamentally believe that kids who are enjoying themselves are in a better learning environment, and they're going to take in more of the information. And that's my job, right? And some topics I teach are not as interesting as others. I'm talking about monopolies and Teddy Roosevelt, which might be interesting for an adult, but let's be honest, for a 13, 12-year-old kid, right? I have to figure out gimmicks and tricks to make it as interesting as I can. And so that's this little activity. Again, it's short. Right? If I was doing the whole class where they had to match definitions, I think it'd be boring. But the fact that it's like a 3 to 4 minute activity where they just kind of match it and then we talk about it and they have that little poster. So not only are they matching the definitions, that they're talking about something that's relevant to their life, bullying. And then we're going to reconnect bullying back to Theodore Roosevelt and his fight against monopolies. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But that's my lesson idea, and that's how I'm going to show you. So while I'm talking here, you'll would have seen like how I built it out, and that's it. So I'll see you guys next week.